Well, welcome, friends. Thanks for coming to hang out. Is there anything you want to work on tonight? Okay. All right. Yes, definitely. Okay. Yeah. Well, we can play with nuances and definitely honor your body, honor what's going on, and take it at your own pace. And we'll get into some fun. Welcome to all of those joining us live or watching this recording later. Go ahead and gather any props that you may have that you want to practice with, blankets, cushions, bolsters, blocks if you have them. If not, books can be a nice substitute. So gather your things and we'll get started. So do just as usual, starting with a nice grounding meditation. Get into our mindful movement, settle into our Shavasana. I will sneak out to shut the door or to lock the door in about 5 or so minutes. So in case that's a little distraction, you know what's going on. So taking a moment to just let yourself land. Noticing if you want to open the eyes and look around the room, take in your surroundings. Using your external environment as a tool of connection. But you can also, when you feel ready, start to soften the gaze or close the eyes. Just starting to feel into the body. Noticing how you're feeling physically. Holding space for any injuries or ailments, any stiffness or soreness you're carrying with you. Inviting the physical body to show up as it is, knowing that it will change, it will shift. And we're getting a nice baseline of where we're starting so that we can honor the journey. As we move through our physical practice, now I try to give lots of options for exploration and encourage exploration of your own. So taking anything that I have to offer that works, leaving the rest behind, and perhaps filling in the space with your own creations. Inviting your emotional body to settle. Honoring any feelings you're carrying with you or any that arise throughout your practice. Allowing the mind to settle in. And holding space for any thoughts you're carrying with you or any that arise through your practice. And inviting in a little bit of space into our practice. And within this space, an opportunity for curiosity, for compassion, for accountability. And for gathering information about what's going on in the mind and in the body, and then the emotions. Feeling down into the connection to your sits bones. Feel the earth rising up to support you. Perhaps feeling into areas of the body that are touching the earth. Bringing in your own unique connection to earth. Perhaps a sense of grounding, of support, of connection. Perhaps even taking a moment to honor the ground that you're on and the original stewards of that land. Here in Salt Lake, we are in the land of the Ute, Paiute, Goshute, and Shoshone tribes. Letting your connection to earth resonate through your body in any way that it does. And then with this sense of stability or grounding, start to find some lengthening through the crown of the head, reaching the crown up towards the sky. Finding a lengthening in the spine, maybe a little opening of the chest, but nothing rigid. So softening in the shoulders and in the face. And feel into this sense of rooting down towards the earth to find the support to rise up towards the sky. And starting to bring awareness to your backside body. And perhaps taking a moment to honor the journey that you've been on, the path that you've already walked. Perhaps inviting in the support of your ancestors, your lineage, those that have come before you, whose energy still lives in your body, and who are there to support you. Perhaps feeling into the wisdom of our ancestors, whether if we knew them in the flesh or not. And with this sense of a support system that has your back, bring some awareness to the front side of your body. Perhaps a moment to honor the journey ahead, the unknown path. Knowing that we have the support and the wisdom of our ancestors, of our lineage, of our own personal journey to help us as we move forward into the future, into the unknown. But knowing that we always have this ability to lean back, to move forward. And bringing awareness to your side bodies. allowing them to expand, take up space. We all take up physical space and energetic space, and it's our choice how we want to fill that space, how we want to show up in that space. And as you allow yourself to feel a little more expansive, perhaps even a moment to honor those who are walking the path with you. Those people in your present life that are there to catch you when you fall, and you're there to catch them when they fall. A sense of community, of interconnectedness, knowing that we don't have to go on this journey alone, nor should we. And allow all of these directions, the rooting down to rise up, the leaning back to move forward, and the expansion out into presence. Allow all of that to settle into your heart space or into your belly, wherever feels a little safer to access. And notice how that feels. With this connection, start to find a deepening of your breath. And finding a way to connect to the breath in any way that serves you. As you feel ready with this lengthening in the spine, rooting down to the sits bones, we'll slowly just start to find some circles through the torso. So these could be big or small in any direction. And notice where you start to feel sensation. And when you feel ready, reversing the direction of those circles. Moving nice and slow so that you can feel into the sensations. And continuing to check in with the physical body. And moving in ways that honor how it's showing up now. Slowly circling your way back towards center, releasing the arms alongside the body. And we'll take an inhale to send the arms out and raise them up towards the sky. And on an exhale, just release them down. And we'll do that again. Another inhale to reach out, raise them up just as high as feels okay, using the full length to reach up. And using the full length of the exhale to release the arms down, nice and slow. And one more inhale, reach out, reach up. And exhale, release down. Beautiful work this round. Once again, reach out and reach up on an inhale. On the exhale, we'll start to turn the heart over towards the right, drawing the right shoulder back, releasing the arms down, finding a twist. Finding your breath here. The hands can just drape down. We don't need to use the hands as leverage, especially these first few rounds. On your next inhale, we'll unwind, coming back through center, reaching both arms up towards the sky. And exhale, twist to the other side, nice and gentle. Your arms can just drape down, drawing the left shoulder back, opening through the chest. Hips are nice and grounded. On your next inhale, we'll untwist, reaching the arms back up towards the sky. And on an exhale, we'll release the hands forward, start to come towards a forward fold. Hands could find the ground and walk away. They could find blocks, and we don't have to come very far here. Sits bones are rooted. Starting to feel some lengthening in the low back, maybe some activation in the glutes or hamstrings or outer hips, maybe into the low back or side bodies, or anywhere else that you notice sensation. When you're ready, we'll slowly start to walk the hands back and come up to a neutral spine, uncrossing through the legs. Shake them out for a moment. Awesome work. Getting a little circulation going back into the legs. Awesome work. And we'll take a forward fold here. Legs could stay extended, or you could bend the knees, make it nice and gentle. You can also have something underneath the sits bones. So we'll lengthen up through the crown of the head. Just start to lean forward, hinging at the hips, getting past that fulcrum point. If the knees are bent, the chest could come down towards the thighs. You could release the head. You could wrap the arms underneath bent knees. And just finding whatever depth you'd like to take this to. Doesn't have to be 100%. It can be nice and gentle. Again, feeling into that lengthening in the low back. Maybe finding a release through the head, neck, and shoulders. Maybe some sensation in the backside body, down the backs of the legs. Maybe still some tingling in your feet. My left foot is still waking back up. Awesome work. When you're ready, we'll slowly start to raise back up. We'll start to come into a tabletop. So coming into hands and knees, you can kneel on a blanket or double up on the mat if a little cushion for the knees would feel good here. And as you plant the hands, plant the knees, just start to find some freestyle movement here. Just moving in any way that feels good, even if it feels weird. Maybe it's some hip circles or torso circles. Maybe it's some cat-cow, shifting forward and back. Finding a connection to your breath. And then as you feel ready, we'll come back to a neutral spine, gaze towards the ground, really spread out through the hands. Make sure that the wrists feel okay. You can always walk the hands forward. We'll start to shift more weight into the left knee, extending the right toes back. Keep the right toes planted as you root back through the heel. Really pressing into the hands, lengthening through the back of the right leg. And then nice and slow with this nice long neck, we'll start to take the gaze over towards the right, so the left ear turns down towards the ground. Finding a connection to your breath, continuing to root back through the right heel. We'll take a really big, slow circle with the head. So whichever direction, it doesn't matter which direction, we'll do both, but just start to take the head around and over towards the left, moving slower than you think. And letting the head circle back towards the right. And once you get there, reverse the direction of the circle. So get nice and slow. Really feel into the changing sensation. Awesome work. And then when the gaze is back over towards the right, we'll release the gaze down towards the ground, still lengthening through the spine. Unweighting through the right toes, we'll draw kind of a quarter of a circle, taking the right foot over towards the left, so crossing it behind the left leg. Again, pressing into the ball of the foot, rooting back through the heel, getting a nice stretch through the outer edge of the right hip, maybe into the low back. Gaze towards the ground with the neck nice and long. And we'll start to take the gaze over towards the left, bringing the right ear towards the ground. Maybe you can catch or see the toes, but not necessary. Then again here, nice and slow, big circle with the neck. Continuing to press into the hands, rooting back through the heel, taking the gaze over towards the right, and then circling back over towards the left. When you get back over towards the left, reversing the circle nice and big in the opposite direction, move slow. When you're ready, releasing the gaze towards the ground, nice lengthening in the spine. And then from here, we'll draw little half circles. So unweighting through the right toes. Your choice if the toes stay on the ground as you start to draw the leg back towards center and over towards the right. It'll come off the mat. And then back in the opposite direction. So back towards center, over towards the left, crossing back behind you. If you want, you could also hover the foot. The toes could be just a centimeter or two off the ground, or the leg could raise up and take kind of a rainbow shape with the leg, activating a little bit more through the glute, through the hamstring, and really feeling into that stabilizing leg to the left glute, left hamstring, and quad. So finding very slow, intentional movement through the right leg. Gazes towards the ground, so we have a nice neutral neck. You can bring in the support of the core, drawing the belly in. And exploring sensation through movement. Awesome work. And whenever you feel ready, bringing the right knee back to meet the left. And then maybe some some hip circles here, or just tick-tocking the hip side to side, or anything else that would feel good. Getting off of the left knee, out of the left quad. Awesome work. And then before we switch to the other side, let's prop the toes, and we'll start to walk the hands back. And as we set the hips down, you can stay leaned forward using the hands to take some of the weight distribution, but really tune into the feet. If you'd like, you could walk the hands up towards the knees. You can also slide a block in between the feet, so we're getting a stretch through the feet. You may need to even tuck the little pinky toe. The more weight we have on the hips, the more intense this is going to be. So that's where a block in between the ankles could be nice. You can also put a cushion or something in between the thighs, behind the knee. And maybe just rolling out through the wrists or shaking out through the hands. Just giving the wrists a little break as we get a nice stretch through the feet. This is called screaming foot pose, so if your toes are screaming at you, you're doing it right. But again, knowing that you're never locked in, you can always come out. I'll just take a few more rounds of breath here. Working through the wrists, stretching out through the feet. Then as you feel ready, we'll start to bring the weight forward, planting the hands unweighting through the toes. Maybe let the circulation come back into the feet and maybe tap them out. Awesome work. And then we'll take our little series on the other side. So starting to shift more weight into the right knee. We'll extend the left toes back. Left toes stay on the ground as we spread out through the hands. Root back through the heel. Find this nice activation here. And the neck is nice and long. We'll start to turn the gaze over towards the left. Right ear towards the earth. Feel that sensation. And then when you're ready, moving nice and slow, we'll take a big circle with the head in one direction, taking it over towards the right. And then coming back towards the left. And when you get there, switching the direction of the circles, or the big, slow circle. Ending with the gaze back over towards the left, and then turning the gaze towards the ground, lengthening through the spine, unweighting through the left toes. And draw a little quarter circle, taking the left toes over towards the right. Planting the ball of the foot, rooting back through the heel, feeling into the side body stretch and the lower body. Gaze towards the ground, and then slowly we'll start to turn the head, gaze over towards the right. Maybe you can see the toes, not necessary. Lengthening through the left side of the neck, and then nice and slow, big circle through the head. Taking it over towards the left, circling back towards the right. And once you get there, reversing the direction. Nice and slow, feel the sensations. Awesome work. Coming back to a neutral neck, gaze towards the ground, unweighting through the left toes. We'll draw a big, start to draw those half circles. So bringing the left leg behind you, out towards the left. Again, the toes could stay on the ground. Toes could hover. Leg could lift higher. You could take a little rainbow shape with the leg. But trying to move nice and slow. Extending through the left leg. And moving it from the left to the right. Finding whatever level of activation works best for you here. Connecting with your breath. Awesome work. And when you feel complete, bringing the left knee back to meet the right. You can take any movements that would feel good here. Maybe some circles through the hips, or some cat-cow, or any other movements. And then for one more foot stretch, when you're ready from tabletop, we'll bring the knees, the ankles, the feet to touch. Toes pointed down. And we'll walk the hands back as we start to send the hips down, coming into a hero's pose. Again, knowing that the more weight you put back on the heels, the bigger stretch you'll get in the feet. Find what feels good here. And maybe here we interlace through the fingers and draw some figure eights with the wrists. And then maybe switching up the interlacing of the hands, going the unnatural way and rolling them out. You can release and shake them out. And as you feel ready, coming back to our tabletop, unweighting through the feet, propping the toes, spreading out through the hands as we plant the hands, engaging in the core, starting to set up our first downward dog. Rooting back through the heels, lengthening through the spine. We'll start to hover the knees. You can stay in the hover, or you could lift the hips, head coming between the biceps, chest back towards the thighs. Heels rooting down towards the earth. They definitely don't need to touch. And let the knees soften. They can bend as much as you'd like, especially if that helps to support the lengthening in the spine. And just feel into this. You can always release down to the knees and take a puppy pose with the hips lifted as you lower the head and chest down. Fantastic work. Now from here, we're going to revisit those half circles with the legs, so you can always release down to the knees. We'll start to shift more weight into the left foot, and we'll step the right foot out towards the right, but keep it unweighted. And then start to raise the right foot out towards the right, lifting it as high as feels okay, bringing it towards center, and then crossing it over towards the left as we lower it back down. Awesome work, and then we'll just go back the other way. So it doesn't really matter how high the leg is coming. Again, the toes could kind of drag along the ground or just hover, or the leg could create kind of an arch or a rainbow or anywhere in between. Just moving nice and slow, building some mobility and some strength. Also working with some balance here. Fantastic work. When you're ready, either stepping the right foot to meet the left or extending the right leg up into a three-legged dog. Nice deep round of breath. And then we'll start to step the right foot forward, coming towards our low lunge. You can always lower the back knee down and use the hand to bring the foot forward. Blocks can be nice here to bring the ground closer. Getting into the hips here, our left hip flexor, right hamstring. Maybe moving forward and back. Awesome work. Then from here, we're going to find some circling through the arms. So just taking this to whatever range of motion works best for you. So unweighting through the hands, we'll take an inhale to bring the hands forward, palms facing each other, raising them up towards the sky as far as feels okay. Starting to rotate the thumbs in, palms out. You can bend in the elbows as you open through the chest and circle the arms down and around. Awesome. Again, inhale, palms facing each other, reaching forward and up. Rotate thumbs in, palms out, open through the chest. You can bend in the elbows, circle down and around. Last one. Inhale, palms face each other, reach out and up. Palms rotate out as we open through the chest and come back through. Release the hands towards the ground or block straight in through the front legs, send the hips back. Let's start with the right toes pointed. So rooting the toes down towards the ground, getting that stretch through the top of the foot, into the front side of the leg. Maybe even I'm feeling a little activation in the arch of my foot. And then moving nice and slow, starting to point the toes up towards the sky. Noticing how that changes sensation, drawing the toes back towards the knee. And from here, nice and slow, letting the toes drop out towards the right. Noticing how that changes up the sensation. Toes still flexed back. Keep a nice soft bend in the knee. And then letting the toes come back towards center, and maybe they dial out towards the left. Noticing just how these little nuances, these little shifts can bring different layers of sensation, can help us to explore the shape with a little more detail. You can get a little more nuanced with it. Bringing the toes back towards center, we'll rebend in the front knee, maybe walking the hands forward. And propping through the back toes, we'll lift through the back knee, coming into our high lunge. Awesome work. Just one round here of unweighting through the hands. Inhale to swoop the hands forward, palms facing each other. Raise up, flip the palms, open up through the chest, and release the hands down. Awesome work this round. We'll windmill the arms. Left arm comes back, right arm comes forward as we pivot the back heel down and land in a warrior two shape. Awesome work. Root down towards the feet. Press into the back edge of the back foot. Press evenly into all four corners of the front foot. For more activation, maybe lifting through the balls of the feet. Exaggerating the arching in the foot. Awesome work. Then nice and slow, keeping the legs in this shape. Find those torso circles again. So this will be a different range of motion than when we had squared hips and seated. Might feel a little awkward. Awesome work. Then reverse the direction. Noticing where you feel sensation, where you feel support, where you could bring in more support. Awesome work. Coming back to a neutral spine, we'll start to straighten through the front leg, pivoting the front toes to meet the back. Extending out, make a star shape, take up space. Pivot the heels in as you turn the toes out on an exhale. Bend the knees, bend the elbows, lower down. Inhale, re-extend, take up shape or space in your star shape. Exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows. One more like this if you'd like it. Inhale, re-extend, take up space. Exhale, release it down. Hold here. Notice if the knees want to drop in, invite them to open. Arms could stay where they are. They could release to the thighs for support. Fantastic work. When you're ready, on an inhale, rooting down towards the feet, rising up, straightening through the legs, reaching the arms out and up. We'll pivot the front toes to point towards the front, rebending in the front knee, coming back to warrior two. Nice inhale here. On an exhale, windmilling the hands down, left hand finds the ground or a block, right hand finds the right knee. Inhaling to lengthen. On an exhale, turn the heart over towards the right, finding a twisted lunge. Back knee could lower. Right hand could stay where it is. It could reach back behind you. It could reach up towards the sky. You can always step the right foot out towards the right to create a little more space. Nice deep breath in. On an exhale, unwind, plant the hands, draw the right foot back, coming into a plank, half plank, or tabletop. We'll meet in a downward dog. You're welcome to make your way towards that. You could take a push-up to cat-cow. You could take a belly to cobra. You could take a chaturanga to upward dog, if any of those transitions are in your practice. You can stop and take a pause in child's pose. We'll meet in our down dog and take that series on the other side before we start to settle the energy. Awesome work. So again, we'll be drawing those half circles with the left leg. So your choice if you want to do this from downward dog or if you'd like to lower to the knees. Unweighting the left foot, bringing more weight into the right foot so that we can start to send the left toes out towards the left.
And then choosing how you'd like to create your circles. If the toes want to kind of drag along the ground as you bring the left leg over towards the right and back towards the left. If the leg wants to lift any amount, you could create a rainbow shape or an arc. Really press into the hands. Use the support of the upper body so we're not just relying on the strength of the right leg to support us. Connecting with your breath. Again, moving with whatever activation, whatever range of motion works best for you here. And when you're ready, we're either stepping the left foot to meet the right, or extending the left leg up, finding a three-legged dog. Nice deep inhale, and on an exhale, stepping the left foot forward. Coming into our low lunge, lowering the back knee down. And hands could come to blocks. Feeling into this opening in the right hip flexor, left hamstring. Maybe there's a little forward and backward movement. And we'll start to unweight through the hands and find those circles with the arms. Again, whatever range of motion works best for you. So inhale to send the arms forward. Palms could face each other. As the arms raise up, flipping the thumbs in, palms out. You can bend in the elbows, open through the chest as you circle the arms down and around. Beautiful. 2 more. Inhale. Palms face each other, and then exhale. Palms turn out as they circle down and around. 1 more. Big circles with the shoulders, or as big as feels okay. Awesome work. As we release the hands towards the ground or blocks, we'll straighten through the front leg, shifting the hips back, keeping the toes on the ground, pointing through the left foot, getting a stretch through the foot, through the top of the leg. And then moving slow so you can feel the sensation, starting to peel the toes off the ground, drawing them back towards the knee as we find a flexing in the foot. Noticing if that changes the sensation. I feel it more in the back leg. Awesome work. If you'd like, nice and slow, letting the toes dial out towards the right. And just noticing how the simple little movement, we don't have to go far, can change up the intensity, can change up the sensation, can change the location of sensation. If you'd like, bring the toes back towards center, maybe letting them dial in towards the right. When you're ready, bringing the foot back towards center, walking the hands forward, rebending in the front knee, propping the back toes. Starting to set up your high lunge. Unweighting through the hands, 1 round of those big arm circles, bringing the hands forward on an inhale, palms facing each other as you raise up, thumbs rotate in, open up through the chest on the exhale. Awesome work. This round will windmill the arms. Left arm comes forward, right arm comes up and around as we pivot the back heel down and land in our warrior 2. Awesome work. Feel into the grounding of the feet, the strength in the legs, and then start to find those torso circles. And move nice and slow. Might feel awkward. And reversing the direction. Ooh. Playing with balance, with strengthening, with mobility. Excellent work. When you're ready, straightening through the front leg, pivoting the front toes to meet the back. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky. This round on an exhale, releasing halfway down, hovering the chest. Arms could reach out. They could also come to the thighs or towards the earth or blocks. And on your next exhale, releasing down towards your wide leg forward fold, letting the head and neck release. Hands can travel wherever they'd like on the outer edges of the legs, ankles, or feet. They can find the ground. They could interlace at the low back and open up into a shoulder stretch. They could interlace at the nape of the neck for a little traction through the neck. Checking in with the knees, we want at least a soft bend, so we're not locking out into the joints, but you can bend the knees as much as you'd like. A few more rounds of breath. And as you feel ready, rooting down towards the feet, nice and slow, raise up to a half lift, letting a little blood flow get back into the brain. Hands could come to the legs or hips for support, or they could extend out. Rooting down towards the feet, engaging in the core. We'll inhale to start to raise back up towards standing. And then we'll turn the front toes forward, rebending in the front knee, finding warrior two. We'll take a nice deep inhale to lengthen. Exhale, cartwheeling the hands down as we pivot the back heel up. Right hand finds the ground or a block, left hand finds the knee. Setting up a twist, you could take the left foot out a little bit wider. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, turn the heart over towards the left knee. You can always lower the back knee down. Left hand could stay where it is. It could reach back behind you. It could reach up towards the sky. Finding your breath. Finding whatever depth of a twist works for you on this side. When you're ready to come out, inhale to lengthen. Exhale to untwist, plant the hand, draw the left foot back, coming into plank, half plank, or tabletop. You can make your way through a downward dog into a child's pose if you'd like to take a push-up to cat-cow, belly to cobra, chaturanga to upward dog. Again, you can make a stop at downward dog, but we'll meet in child's pose. Your choice if knees are narrow or wide in your child's pose. Awesome work. Yeah, taking your time. Do your thing. We will start to settle the energy, but if you need to expel a little bit more, maybe do a few extra moves before settling into some intentional rest. Feeling the energy we've just moved around, the heat we've invited into the body. Whenever you feel ready, we'll come into a seated position. Take your time, no rush. We'll get into just a little bit of core work. So to get down onto our backs, it's your choice if the knees are bent or if you'd like the legs straight, but keep that softness in the knees. We want to find the lengthening in the spine. Hands could be on the ground for support. They could walk down the legs for support. They could also extend out for a little more challenge. We want to draw the belly in, hug the ribs in, and lengthen up through the crown of the head. We'll take a nice inhale. On an exhale, we'll just start to lean back about a third of the way. So just kind of guessing what that would be for you, for whatever range you want to work with. Hold for one round of breath. Awesome work. Take one more deep inhale. On the exhale, we'll raise up. Beautiful. Another round. Inhale, lengthen, draw belly in. Exhale, lean back, maybe coming 2/3 of the way. Really find that core activation. Heart is lifting. Embrace any shaking. Awesome work. No, you're never locked into anything that we're doing. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, raise back up. Awesome. One more round. Inhale to lengthen, draw belly in. On the exhale, we'll start to lie it back, going past 1/3 of the way, 2/3 of the way, slowly making our way all the way down. And when you have to, start to round out in the low back. So you can come down one vertebrae at a time. Ooh, I got some shaking going on. And release down. Notice if the arms want to come overhead or if they want to release down alongside the body. You're finding some lengthening in the limbs. You could send a sigh out of the mouth. And then when you're ready, we'll bend the knees, planting the feet on the ground. Finding a little lift through the hips, you can tuck through the tailbone and then set the hips back down. And then we're gonna kind of work some centering muscles. So your choice, again, the level of activation here, we're just gonna start to draw the right knee in towards the chest and then release it back down. And then switching out, lifting the left knee in towards the chest and setting it back down. Now your choice, the toes could stay on the ground and you could just lift the heel, so a smaller range of motion. You could also, as you lower the feet down, maybe the toes barely touch, or maybe the toes hover so that you have a little constant activation here. And move slower than you think you should. So I'm feeling this activating my hip flexors, but then my lower core. And it may not feel like we're doing much, or maybe it feels like we're doing a lot. But especially with this slower pace, we're gonna really fire up those stabilizing muscles in our torso, helping to support the low back, the hips. Don't forget to breathe. Awesome work. You can continue with bringing one knee in at a time, or maybe you play with both knees coming in together. And choosing whatever range of motion works for you, whatever level of activation. A couple more rounds here. Awesome work. And when you're ready, releasing both feet down, letting the bottoms of the feet come to touch as you drop the knees open, releasing through the belly, letting the knees hang heavy, or you could slide props underneath the knees for support. Hands could come to the belly, they could come to the heart, they could extend out. Feel that little fire that we stoked in the belly, our powerhouse, our center. Then as you feel ready, we'll bring the knees back together and we'll walk the feet out wider than hip distance. We'll extend the arms up towards the sky And then we'll cross the forearms, right forearm in front of the left, grabbing opposite elbows. And we'll take some windshield wiper twisting. We'll let the knees drop to the right, and we'll let the elbows come over towards the left. And then we'll come back up through center and take it to the opposite side. So knees to the left, elbows to the right. And just kind of flow through this a few times. And whatever range of motion works best for you here. You can link the breath with the movement if you'd like, or just observe the breath as you move. And then if you'd like to settle into a twist and a shoulder stretch, you can pause when the knees are over towards the right and the elbows are over towards the left. So we have the right arm coming across the body. The left hand could stay on the elbow, creating a little bit of leverage. You could always release the left hand. You can just kind of let the right arm drape over the body if that feels okay. But noticing if you feel this in the chest and the arm and the scapula. And tuning into the lower body, the twist, feeling into the left hip, hip flexor, quad. Awesome work. When you're ready, bringing the knees and elbows back up towards center. Keeping the feet wide, let the knees drop in on themselves, and then let the elbows come overhead so the biceps are framing the head, and the arms don't have to release all the way down to the ground. They're just kind of moving in that direction. If you need to change from holding onto the elbows to the forearms or the wrists, feel free. And just letting the knees drop in on themselves, a little counter to the opening. Awesome work. When you're ready, bringing the elbows back up towards the sky, re-extending through the arms. And then crossing left forearm in front, grabbing opposite elbows. Separating through the knees, and then taking those windshield wipers. Knees to the right, elbows to the left, and switching out when you feel ready. Knees to the left, elbows to the right. A few rounds of this twisting with the knees and the shoulders. And if you'd like to pause in a shoulder stretch and twist, pausing when the knees are over towards the left, elbows towards the right. So we'll have the left arm coming across the body. Again, right elbow or right hand could rest on the left elbow for leverage, or you could just release and let the left arm drape over the body. Tuning into the left quad, hamstring, hip flexor. Anywhere else you feel sensation. And as you feel ready, once again, unwinding, keeping the feet wide, letting the knees drop in on themselves, and then taking the elbows overhead. Letting the biceps come towards the ears. They don't need to line up. Arms definitely don't need to touch the earth. And you can grab on to opposite elbows, forearms, wrists, or fingers. When you're ready, releasing the arms, bringing them alongside the body. We'll walk the heels back in underneath the knees and then walk the heels in towards the glutes. Here we'll come into a bridge or a supported bridge. So we'll start to bring a puffing up of the chest as we tuck the shoulder blades underneath. And then with a scooping of the tailbone, we'll slowly press into the feet, into the shoulders, and into the head as we lift the hips up, just as high as feels okay. You're welcome to slide a prop underneath the hips for support, or continue to press into the earth for support. You could interlace the hands behind the low back. You could tuck the shoulder blades even more behind the heart. If you want to find more lift in the hips, press down into the feet. Press the shins forward as the hips raise. Chest is lifting towards the chin. Chin is lifting towards the ceiling. We've got a nice length in the spine, still opening through the chest. Beautiful work. If you have the support underneath the hips and you'd like, you could raise the feet up towards the sky. You could or when you're ready to come out, if you don't have the support, unwrap the shoulder blades to create space for the spine, then roll the spine down. And when the pelvis lands, then extend the legs up towards the sky. With this nice release for the legs. Maybe you spread out through the toes or point and flex or roll out through the ankles. You could also shake out through the legs or open them up wide, scissor them side to side. You could explore large or small movements through the legs or settle into some stillness. You could find a happy baby, cobbler's pose with lifted heels. And you're welcome to stay here with legs extended for as long as feels good. We'll start to transition towards Shavasana, or our final relaxation. But you can also take some time to explore any final movements, anything the body's craving, or anything that'll help wrap up your physical practice and help you to surrender to Shavasana. Tuning into the body. Notice if it wants any more movement or if it's ready to settle into stillness. Setting yourself up for your final relaxation in whatever shape feels supportive. It could be on the back, on your side, on your belly, seated or in a chair. As we settle into the last part of our time together, allowing yourself to surrender completely to this moment.
information that arose, any stories or self-talk that arose in our practice, to be a part of the experience. Offering ourselves some compassion, some understanding that we show up in deeply conditioned bodies and minds. And each mindful practice helps us to become a little more aware of that deep conditioning. So inviting an integration of your practice of mind, body, and self. Allow us settling in this moment to practice acceptance, to practice surrender, and to get back to our natural state of just being. Taking one last moment to check in, to acknowledge your journey, and to observe any effects of your mindful practice without expectation. And slowly, slowly bringing movement back into the body. If you're lying down and not already there, eventually making your way onto one side of the body. And pausing for just a moment in this nurturing position to offer yourself some thanks for your willingness to step on your mat, to put in the work, to nurture your mind, your body, and yourself. As you feel ready, making your way up to a comfortable seat. And an invitation to take any meaningful gesture with the hands to symbolize the ending of your practice. Thank you so much for sharing your presence and your energy with me, and for your trust in allowing me to share the magic of yoga with you. I hope you have a fantastic night. I see you, I honor you, I bow to you. Namaste. Thank you, friends. Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you to all those who joined virtually. I have left a link, or I've left my Venmo in the description if you would like to donate. We do rely on your donations to keep this beautiful space and to be able to provide these classes. So thank you so much. Have a great day.